Thank you. I now recognize Ms. Jackson for 5 minutes to present her testimony.
Chair McCormick, Ranking Member Sykes, and members of this subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today. My name is Donna Jackson, and I am a senior policy analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. My own background is in accounting and finance, and I will bring some of that experience to bear in my testimony today. But my main qualification is that I lived more than half my life in disadvantaged communities, the kind that would meet the Biden administration's Justice 40 criteria. This includes my years as a single mother of 5, and I can say without hesitation that the environmental justice agenda is as out of touch as it gets with the real needs of the people in these communities. To put it bluntly, families struggling with failing schools, crime, drugs, high prices don't want a government spending billions on solar panels, EV charging stations, and bike paths. Now, we can certainly discuss the massive misallocation of resource, but the problem is not just the money wasted, but also the chilling effects being designated as an environmental justice community has on the kind of private investments needed to turn these communities around. Overall, the environmental justice agenda serves as a form of redlining that discourages community development and upward mobility for its residents. One of President Trump's top agenda items is revitalizing the American manufacturing sector, and I certainly hope he succeeds. Low-income and minority Americans would benefit the most from a manufacturing turnaround, but not if these kinds of facilities are kept away from these communities. My family experience demonstrates the benefits of manufacturing jobs. Several of my generations, including my grandfather, completely transformed their lives, moving from the South to Detroit and other northern industrial cities where they went to work for companies like Ford, Chrysler, US Steel. These were good-paying gateway jobs that allowed people with limited formal education, but a willingness to work hard, a pathway to the middle class and self-sufficiency. And those manufacturing jobs permanently broke the cycle of poverty for their kids and their grandkids. And if you got a better welfare program that has that track record, I'd like to hear about it. I saw such a transformation myself when I lived in Tennessee after the big Nissan plant opened in Smyrna. The local economy was completely turned around by this investment. It's absolutely ridiculous to suggest that my relatives were victims of Ford and Chrysler and US Steel, and that the low-income and minority residents of Smyrna would have been better off if the Nissan plant had been blocked by environmental activists. But this is exactly the ideology Justice 40 agenda, which seeks to force industry and its high-wage blue-collar jobs from these communities that need it the most. The same is true of housing. Home ownership is absolutely critical to the family stability, upward mobility, self-sufficiency, building intergenerational wealth. And low-income and minority households have a long way to go to close the home ownership gap. But sadly, the environmental movement spends a great deal of its time suing home builders and blocking more housing. And the previous administration's near obsession with climate-friendly housing further raised prices by piling on mountains of costly regulations on homes. The same is true for personal transportation. Affordable cars are absolutely essential for upward mobility. The reality of those living in environmental justice communities is that the best jobs are usually outside of their neighborhoods, and owning a car opens up all kinds of opportunities, especially in the gig market. And it lets you drive to suburban supermarkets and other places that you have more access to of better prices and things that you need. Romanticize all you want about public transportation, but the reality is that it can't only take you to a fraction of the employment opportunities available if you have a car that you can afford. It cannot help you shuffle kids around like I had to do, take them to doctor's appointments, after school activities. But if you want to tell this former single mom that I could have done it relying on public transportation, go ahead and try. In addition, we need to stop pretending that the EV agenda is good for poor families and have a little respect for the fact that most of the people in these communities don't want them. Overall, the real answer lies in policies that encourage private sector investment in these communities and that strengthen families by making them more sufficient. That's why the environmental justice agenda is a costly step in the wrong direction, and I welcome the Trump administration's effort to diminish it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Now I